Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, a real estate investment program. Listen and learn how to use real estate to build wealth and passive income streams for you and your family. We bring you experts every day to discuss and answer your questions on everything from single-family homes all the way up to 600-plus unit apartment complexes. And now, the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Hello, gang. This is David Ruzicka with Lifestyles Unlimited, working on your financial freedom. I'm so excited to be with you today because I've got somebody that is really exciting. It is one of the Lifestyles Unlimited experts in single-family investing. I've got Joey Sullivan with me today. He went from being an accountant to ultimately investing in 22 different real estate deals. That is amazing. That is a big deal. Not only that, and he's going to tell us about that, so you just hang on. Not only that, he is one of the experts. So when someone joins Lifestyles Unlimited and they say, I need a mentor, I need somebody who is a mastermind, part of my mastermind group, who's going to show me how to do investing, this is the guy who holds their hand all the way through the deal. So really a great treat to have him with us today. Joey, I'm glad you're with us. Want to get to know you first. Want the people listening to get to know you first. And tell us a little bit about your background, who you are outside of real estate investing, where you're from, what was life for you before you were introduced to Lifestyles Unlimited.
Hey, David. Well, I'm really excited and honored to be on the show today. Thank you so much. So a little about me. I'm from the great state of Wyoming, so that's where, I was born. Moved around a bit as a child with my dad, finding work in different places, Colorado and North Carolina, but eventually found my way back to Wyoming, when I was around 11 years old, and that's where I spent most of my childhood. That's what I call home, is in Laramie, Wyoming. So
that's a beautiful place to come from.
It is, yeah. I just got back from vacation there, and oh my gosh, you got to go in the summer. You guys, I know everyone's scared of the snow, but the summer that's the time to go. So if you want to check out the beautiful mountains, this is the time. But yeah, so after I graduated from high school, didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, so I ended up joining the Army, and looking back, I'm kind of a chip off the old block with my dad. He was in the Vietnam conflict, and he was an artilleryman. And, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And so I ended up just joining the Army and becoming an artilleryman. So I did the exact same thing. He was on the 105 millimeter cannons that, you can lift with a helicopter. I was on the self-propelled ones, the 155 millimeter cannons. And that was amazing. That really helped me out, just helped me feel, know my limitations to a certain degree. It was one of the best things I've ever done in my life, I think, as far as just getting me disciplined and just having respect for hard work and just being disciplined.
Man, I just want to say, I want to stop you right there and just say thanks so much for your service. Really appreciate that. The one, I was kind of that same era as you, and that's why I didn't go in the military. And that's my one regret from my youth, is that I did not go into the military. I wish I would have done that. So thank you so much, and for setting a fine example and for serving our country. I appreciate that.
No, well, I really appreciate it, David. Yeah, politics aside, and some of the, whether wars are just or not with some of our recent conflicts, overall, there's just the most amazing people in the military. Just the esprit de corps, maybe Google that if you don't know what that means. You just can't find it anywhere else except in the military.
Absolutely.
And, it's incredible. It was an incredible experience. It was short-lived, though. I was in for 3 years, and you could actually do that. But back in the day when they were signing up, and one of the reasons I signed up was the college fund bonus that you can get in artillery. I guess they needed a bunch of folks to join artillery, so I got the bonus. But that was another influence why winning. But so I ended up staying in for 3 years, and you could be in for as little as 2 years. But I got 3 years, went out, and just enjoyed the GI Bill. Went to my hometown, University of Wyoming. Again, didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. So, but like my dad just has a tremendous influence on me. I ended up getting my debit and credit tattoos and getting an accounting degree. So that was the next move there. And then after that, I got my accounting degree. What I didn't realize, though, people may not realize, but when you join, if you're trying to get an accounting degree, they're going to put a tremendous amount of pressure for you to go into public accounting. And if you don't know what public accounting is, that's basically taxes and audits, which it's kind of a strange dichotomy because although I really like, financial accounting or managerial accounting, just kind of the what you would think accounting is, debits and credits, that sort of thing, I really do not like taxes and audit. And what's funny is I just felt unfair. Like, they were forcing me in to do taxes and audits. Everyone said, you got to do public accounting. So I really dislike that. And I soon found out that that's not what I wanted to do. I did an internship doing tax returns and audits. And then I ended up, when I got out of college, my dad hooked me up with a friend in western Colorado near Grand Junction in Montrose. And, man, after 3 months, I was miserable. I was like, I do not want to do tax returns. So I ended up going back to Wyoming, did study for the CPA exam, which, just because of societal expectations to do that. So I did pass that eventually. And then I went to Austin, Texas. I just realized I want to go to a bigger city. I didn't really want to go to Denver, Colorado. That's probably the nearest biggest city.
Right.
So I had a friend who lived down and was going to UT. I met him at Wyoming. He's from Kenya. He's my Kenyan brother. And so he was down here getting like his PhD in education. And he was in student housing and kind of, long story short, his wife couldn't be with him at the time because she had a working visa in another state. They couldn't live together, so he had another place for me. So I packed up everything I had in my 1999 Dodge Intrepid and moved down to Austin and just said, I'm just going to take my chances down in Austin. And I've, it's been one of the best decisions. So, it was kind of a whirlwind of change for me. And that was around 2008 is when I ended up going to Austin. I ended up marrying my wife that year. She was actually, I met her back in Wyoming. She was a international student from Sri Lanka. And if you've never had Sri Lankan food, David, you got to try it. But just remember, you're going to have AB. You know what AB stands for?
No.
If you eat Sri Lankan food, you're going to have afterburn. That's
okay.
One
so
way of
hold right there. Hold right there. We're going to go to the break right here. And we're talking to Joey Sullivan, one of the experts with Lifestyles Unlimited for single-family mentoring. Stay with us until after the break. You're going to hear more.
We're back with the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. We're here to answer your questions and help you become financially free.
Hey, glad to be with you this afternoon. This is David Ruzicka with Lifestyles Unlimited Radio. Glad to have you. We are working on your financial freedom. As I said before the break, we've got one of the experts within Lifestyles Unlimited. If you join Lifestyles Unlimited, you want to know, you have a question about single-family investing, Joey Sullivan is one of the guys that you go to who can hold your hand from beginning to finish on a single-family investment. And Joey, before we went to the break, you made your way to Austin, which is where I grew up, which is kind of fascinating. And I decided to move to Houston, where it's flat and humid, instead of staying in Austin, where it's hilly and pretty good temperature. But so tell us, how did you move from that point, working in accounting? Why were you interested in real estate?
So yeah, after moving to Austin, I ended up just working in private practice, actually with a staffing agency with Robert Half, and did various different jobs around Austin. It was awesome. I still enjoy accounting, but what really kind of made me think differently about money was back in, I think it was 2006 or 7. One of my dad's friends sent this book to us called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which you may have heard of before. So yeah, that book just totally kind of rewired the way I thought about money. And I thought about it back when, I got a pay raise as an accountant, where I had a lot more discretionary income, and my wife wanted to buy a bigger house. Like, we wanted to move to Oak Hill, and we found a house. And I said, look, dear, all of our discretionary income is going to go into paying this mortgage off. So are you sure that's what you want to do? And, I tried introducing her to the idea of maybe let's think differently about money. Let's invest in ourselves now so we can enjoy more free time later. So thank God, really, she had an epiphany. She ended up picking up Robert Kiyosaki's book. She read it. I don't know what the catalyst was for her. Maybe it was the prayer I was making that she'd kind of think the same way I did. And man, she totally did a 180. She's like, nope, we're going to stay here. We're going to rent. Let's save our money. Let's learn how to invest. But the problem was we didn't really know where to invest or how. Because even Robert Kiyosaki's great, but he doesn't really hold your hand and tell you how to do it.
Yeah, pause right there for a second and give us like in a sentence or two what the aha moment from reading that Rich Dad. I mean, I know people have heard of the book, but many people don't know what it's about. Yeah. What was the kind of the catalyst for you? What is the big idea? I guess is what I'm asking for.
That's a good question, David. I don't know if I can succinctly do that. Having your money work for you, treating them, I guess, as like little employees that do working for you and put money in your pocket, basically cash flow. That concept is kind of foreign to me, Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of throwing all your money into a mortgage, you decided to stay, hold on to that discretionary income, and invest that in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And have it snowball. Just have your investments it can go larger and larger the more you throw into it. So.
Yeah, and for folks that are listening, that is one of the books on our reading list. So I would encourage you to go ahead and get that book and take a look at that. And the free workshop, which Joey just mentioned. We have free workshops all the time. You can go to lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com and join one of our free workshops. They're online now, so you can watch them in your pajamas. We have 2 or 3 a week for you to attend. I'm one of the workshop presenters, so I would encourage you to do that. So, Joey, when you went to that workshop, were you a skeptic? Were you? Tell us about that experience.
I was open-minded. I was definitely open because I think that the Kiyosaki books did open my mind to thinking different about money. I know other folks aren't. It's more of sometimes a pain point for some folks where they're listening and just realizing, as Del says, you're living a life of quiet despair, I think is what his expression. It might be something else, but you just know you're not going to make it to retirement, and you need another way to do it. But for me, I was more open already. I understood the power of investing, and I was sold almost instantly. In fact, I signed up. That's when I first met Jody Carrillo, who's one of our single-family mentors here in Central Texas as well. My colleague was back then, and I ended up joining on the spot and going to the case study, and then of course the 2-day. But what really sold me was the case study, David. I don't know about you, but there's always, I think, there's always a skeptic's side to anybody. And just actually seeing like San Antonians or Austinites or anyone else in the Central Texas area just on stage and know they're not paid actors and this is like legit and real, that was powerful for me. It's like, okay, now I'm really excited. And then I went to, of course, the 2-day, and I was just sold. Like I wanted to sign up immediately.
And so, folks, if you're listening, case study, we have those multiple times a month. It is where we have a single-family investor or a multifamily investor. They tell about a deal that they did, and they tell everything, how they found the property, how they rehabbed the property, contractors they use, lenders they use. I mean, they tell everything from A to Z, and then they answer questions about the investment. And I remember the first time I went to one, I'm kind of echoing what you're saying there, Joey, is the guy said something that was wrong, and Del Walmsley, the founder of Lifestyles, is off to the side, and all of a sudden he starts hollering, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what's happening? Because there's like 150, 200 people in the room. And he's like, no. Because what the guy was saying was wrong. It's what the guy did, but it was a mistake. And it was more important to Del to have integrity and point out this is not what we teach and this is not how we do it. And then he explained how we do it. And I was, after my initial shock that he was yelling at the guy, I was impressed that he had the integrity to interrupt the guy and save everybody in the room from being taught something that was incorrect about real estate investing. I thought that was powerful. So you did that. Yeah, and so you did that. You went to the 2-day class. What were kind of the big aha moments? And by the way, that 2-day class is where we teach you everything from A to Z for single family and multifamily investing. How to locate, negotiate, rehab, lease, and manage both single family and multifamily properties. So, Joey, what were the big aha moments for you during that 2-day class?
Yeah, I know this is a common question people are asked, but and I have put some thought into it. I think it's just overall seeing the process from A to Z, like you said. Like I'm the type of person, I'm not going to step out until I understand intuitively every single step. And what's great about Lifestyles is they explain every single step. You know, you can literally, after you're done with the 2-day, you can buy a single-family house and do it comfortably, and you have someone to call if you have any questions along the way. So it just empowered me knowing I know it now, and if I feel like I need some hand-holding, I got it. So that was powerful. I think the other thing was just leverage, using other people's money. What we teach you, you know, with, like, for example, the power of hard money, how you can literally buy a property, and when all is said and done, it's a zero out-of-pocket property that's cash flowing, you know, hundreds of dollars in your bank account every month, and you have tens of thousands sitting there in equity capture, you know, just unrealized capital gain. It was just, you just can't help but get excited. I mean, it was incredible to learn that for the first time.
Yeah. And one of the things we teach you folks in that class is the 5 ways we make money in real estate: through cash flow, through equity capture, through appreciation, principal pay down, and depreciation. And you cannot do that in any other asset class. Hang on with us through the break. We're going to continue talking to Joey Sullivan, one of the Lifestyles Unlimited single-family mentors in single-family investing.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. Now, let's get back to your map to financial freedom.
Hey, good afternoon. So glad to be with you, working with you on your financial freedom. This is David Ruzicka with the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. I am with Joey Sullivan, who is one of our single-family mentors out of Central Texas. He lives in Austin. We have an office in San Antonio, and so he covers that whole area. And so, Joey, want to talk about your first deal. You went to the 2-day class. We're excited to get started, get going with your investing. That took you step by step, which as an accountant, I know that's very important. You got to know all the details before you jump in. Tell us about your first real estate investment.
Yeah, so I was jonesing so bad for a property that the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Jim Vaughn. I don't know if you know him, David, but he was my single family mentor. Jim Vaughn, just an incredible guy. I always like to say that it took 3 single-family mentors in Central Texas to replace one Jim Vaughn, which I believe is true. He was just an incredible guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was. That was back a couple years ago, and he, you know, I told him, hey, I really want one bad. Well, he ended up hearing about a situation where an investor wanted to just unload on a property, and it was actually this investor, believe it or not, got cold feet. He ended up rehabbing the entire property. It did it very well. It was like, as it should be, you know, according to the sold comps in the area. He made it look just like it should. This was up in Round Rock, Texas. But this particular investor, believe it or not, had he just got a bad taste in his mouth because the contractor didn't cut down a tree in the front yard. You know, like a few things on the scope of work weren't done exactly to his satisfaction. So he wanted just out even Steven, like, hey, this is what I paid in. I want out. And, you know, I paid approximately like $20,000 just to get the deed in my name and get him out. I didn't even cut down the tree. I didn't think it was a problem. And that property was amazing. That was my very first one in Round Rock, Texas. It cash flowed like $400 a month, and it was like 40%. Let's see. It was, when all was said and done, I think it was around 40% cash-on-cash return. So it was approximately $400 a month. And when I ended up selling it a couple years later, after like real estate commissions and everything, just the net to my bank account was like $60,000. So it was like a super deal, really, really good deal.
Wow, about a 300% return in a couple years, and you said $400 a month cash flow on a $20,000 investment. So you're talking about 24% of your cash-on-cash return. And what I want folks to hear as you're talking about that just we're used to those numbers, but that's amazing. I mean, when's the last time your stock or your mutual fund gave you any cash flow at all? When is the last time your IRA or your 401k gave you any cash flow at all? That is why we don't lose money in real estate, because we make money in 5 different ways, and must-have cash flow is one of the big deals. That's one of the key principles that we teach around real estate investing. I'm curious, Joey, how long did it take you to get into that property?
It was definitely under 3 months. I mean, I think it was like a month or two. And yeah, just you're right about the cash on cash. It did end up going up, David, just because we ended up raising rents. And I think maybe we did like a cash out refi, towards the end it was like cash flowing. It was like 40% or more.
Wow.
Was really good. But yeah, initially it was that, I think maybe that other dollar amount you said. But anyway, yeah, super deal.
So you're a mentor for Central Texas investors. What is the average amount of time? Because people are worried, what if I join Lifestyles Unlimited, I never get into a property, what will I do? How long does it take the average Lifestyles member to get into a property in your area?
Well, I mean, we make a goal that you want to be in 90 days or less. I mean, if you're taking action, that's pretty easy to do. Average in this, for the past few years has been around, I think, 27 days, I think is what we've compiled. But, I mean, to be honest, it is an interesting market right now. Inventory is a little tight, but we're still chugging them out. The Realty is still chugging them out. This one actually wasn't through Lifestyles Realty. In fact, I've bought them in the Austin area. I've bought them mainly from wholesalers. But our what's cool is if you join, a certain membership levels, we actually spoon feed you the deals, which is pretty cool with our Lifestyles Realtors.
And 27 days, that's just ridiculous. That's amazing. I knew that because David Fisher, I was with him last weekend, and he mentioned that to me. That's why I wanted to ask you. So tell me about your best deal.
Oh, well, those are I've had a few of them where they're just basically zero out of pocket. Those are, that's what I consider home runs, are the zero out of pocket deals.
So a person listening is going to say, how in the world do you get a zero out of pocket deal?
That is the thing. You know what? That might be worth going into a little bit, because it was even confusing for me initially. I had to just get my head around it. It's the power of using hard money, and just to briefly go over that. You got to throw this whole idea of 20% down on a property, just that whole conventional side of thinking with financing, out the window. So completely throw it out the window. You're using what's called like a bridge loan. We call it hard money lending, and they'll lend you up to 70 or 75% of the after repair value. So just figure out what it'd be worth when it's all fixed up. That's your ARV. Times it by 70 or 75%. Take that dollar amount and just hold it to the side. That's how much your loan can be. Now, the next thing you need to do is add up 3 things. You need to add up your rehab, purchase price, and closing costs. Add up those 3 things, and whatever the summation of that is, compare it to that loan amount that you can get from a hard money lender. If it is lower than that loan amount, congratulations, this is an example of when you would have like a zero out-of-pocket deal. So that's sort of how it works there.
Yeah, and as you said something, you said you figure out what it's going to be worth after it's repaired. And that's actually what the hard money lender does. They do an appraisal. That's not something, as you listeners, it's not something you have to figure out. The hard money lender will do an appraisal and say, okay, this $50,000 house, if you spend $25,000 on rehab, it'll be worth $100,000. And then you end up doing a rate and term refi into a 30-year mortgage, just a normal mortgage, once the rehab is done. And it's interesting, Joey, because I'll have people say, oh, this is too scary, it's too high leverage. And the example that I gave in the free workshop, you end up with 25% of equity in the deal. So it is not a high leverage deal. I mean, talk about you can get a VA loan with 5% down. I've got 25% in the deal doing the hard money loan. So it's not a high leverage kind of scam artist kind of deal to get into a deal. It's just a normal financing option that reduces your out-of-pocket costs.
By doing the rehab, you've kind of just magically created that equity so that it is a 75% of the loan to value, just with the hard money. So it's just an incredible thing. If you were to just do straight conventional, just to help people who are probably wondering, well, what happens if I buy with the straight conventional loan? Well, they would only give you 80% of the purchase price and then you have to spend out of pocket everything for rehab. So it's a tremendous amount more out of pocket, typically. I mean, there are cases and times where maybe the conventional financing might work better. That's typically in properties where there's just not a lot of rehab needed. But
perfect property.
Sometimes, yeah, kind of your more perfect property. But yeah, generally speaking, it's most of our members are doing hard money and then refinancing into conventional.
And I mean, it's true. I mean, Fannie Mae won't even loan you the money on it. I mean, most of the properties we're buying are pieces are properties that look like garbage, and so Fannie Mae wants a perfect property to loan money on, not a thing that needs a bunch of $25,000 worth of rehab in general.
Yeah, that's true. And it's interesting. Even if there's like a broken window, let's say the whole property is really nice, even if there's like a broken window or a couple shingles off the roof, I think that's even enough for some of these lenders to not lend conventionally, just because it's not to the standards they require to lend on it. So it doesn't even have to be that much work.
Hey, folks, hang on with us. We're talking to Joey Sullivan, single-family mentor with Lifestyles Unlimited, guy who has done up to 22 real estate deals. Glad you're with us. Hang on with us for a little bit longer.
Warning. Listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show will change your life. We will teach you how to create wealth and passive income so you can be financially free. And now, back to your host.
Hey, this is David Ruzicka with Lifestyles Unlimited. We are so glad to be with you today, working on your financial freedom. I do want to remind you about one thing that is coming up, and that is the Wealth and Passive Income Expo. That is coming up the first weekend of September. It'll be a Friday and a Saturday. It's going to be in Dallas, and a tremendous opportunity. Largest real estate investor expo in the United States, I think in the world as well. And great opportunity for you. And I want to give you a free ticket for that. It's $97 for general admission. There are a couple of other options there for attending a multifamily roadshow, different things like that. But it is a tremendous opportunity, a lot of breakout sessions, a great opportunity to kickstart your real estate investing. It's wealthandpassiveincomeexpo.com, wealthandpassiveincomeexpo.com. Use my name, David, capital David, real easy to spell, and you will get a free general admission ticket so that you can attend that. So I want to encourage you to go there, check that out. A great opportunity. Like I said, we're with Joey Sullivan, who is one of our he's a single family expert in Lifestyles Unlimited. And there's a reason for that. He has been in 22 different deals, and I want to ask you, Joey, so you did your first deal, and obviously we're loving real estate investing. You did 22 deals. Kind of just walk us through that process. How do you get 22 single-family houses, or go through that?
Oh, well, I guess it's, what is it, rinse, wash, and repeat? I don't know. What's the expression? That's what's cool with this is once you learn from start to finish how to do it, especially once you've done your first one, you're going to realize, wow, that all made sense. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was. And if you're like me, you just get the bug, and you just want to do it over and over and over again. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of the short of it. I can expand on that if you want.
And, well, tell me this. How many years was that over that you went into 22 different single-family houses?
Well, I've been in since 2012.
2012.
You know, and to be honest, there's people that go there that are a lot more aggressive than me. You know, I could have been a lot more aggressive. So, but yeah, and I'm constantly looking. The last one I bought was just a couple months ago. But yeah, it's treated us very well.
And at what point did you replace at what point did you reach that position where your passive streams of income met or exceeded your bills?
That was in just a couple years. You know,
couple years. 2 years?
Yeah. I mean, it was incredible. You know, to be able to retire my wife. She was really stressed out at the vet clinic. That was like kind of the first step, and it was just it was awesome. It just brought such a difference to our lives. You know, just being in that corporate world, or you know, in my wife's case, she was working at a vet clinic. I mean, the odds of ever retiring and ever saving enough, it just wasn't there. And that's what I guess just a testament to Lifestyles is. I mean, been around for 30 years. Like, you know, anyone who's still on the sideline, it's interesting to hear about folks that listen to the radio show for years and still are like not sure if it's real or not. But it's like 30 years. How do you expect someone to be around 30 years? And it's not like people out of state, fly-by-night salesmen. It's people living in your area who are doing it. So it's just
And that is such an important point. Most people think retirement is an age. It's 65, it's 67, it's whatever the government says it is. No, retirement is when you have replaced either replaced your W-2 income or you have enough passive streams of income that it meets or exceeds all your bills. And one of our multifamily mentors, Robert Hale, he said, it was a lot more fun going to work when I realized I didn't have to anymore. He actually kept working after he had replaced his income for a while. And he said, work was fun then because it wasn't, I've got to do this and I have to do it and I have to do what my boss says because instead it was I can do it for the joy of working, which is a great option. So Joey,
your mindset's totally different when you're in that position.
So Joey, so you're a mentor. Tell us, when people come to you for mentoring, what does it take to be a great real estate investor? Not just an average real estate investor, but a great real estate investor.
You know what? I would say what I see that is common among all the investors that really seem to do quite well and quickly are the ones that ask questions, the ones that bother me, and I don't mean that in a bad sense. The ones that reach out to me multiple times a week, questions about this and that, and they're not being lazy. They've done their study and they've done their due diligence. They're just wanting clarification or wanting reassurance that they're on the right track, So that I would say that is, to me, probably the key to success. What I've noticed, and it reminds me of when I was working with Jim Vaughn. I thought that guy was going to block my number from his phone. I used to bother him so much because I was just looking for so many deals. I wanted to look at deals with me, but eventually, I didn't need him, and that's what happens to a lot of the successful members is they kind of learned it, and they don't really need a mentor as much anymore. Sure, they'll check in from time to time. We're always, of course, friends, and we. We're like a big, happy family. That's what's cool about Lifestyles, too. But
well, and I remember that on that first deal, I was calling or emailing almost every day during my first deal because I was just scared to death that I was going to mess something up. I was going to make a mistake. And that's the beauty of Lifestyles is you have mentors who will walk you through the deal. And let me just ask you so you can just say to people who are listening, do you get bugged when someone calls you or emails you too much when they're doing their investing?
To be honest, I love it. I mean, of course, everyone's like, "Oh man, there's so and so again." But at the same time, I'm excited. It reminds me of me. So no, I don't get bugged. Like I enjoy it. But but no, truly, like I just chuckle inside knowing, man, this guy's going to do really well, or this gal, because they are bothering me. And I always tell them, you're not bothering me. They're always like, "Oh, I'm sorry," but. No, please. And you don't just have me. There's three of us. There's Jody and Jody. Like that's what's great about Lifestyles. They realize how fast we're growing. And to meet all the members' needs, we've expanded, in all the different markets.
And Joey's just talking about Central Texas, just that Austin, San Antonio area. We have mentors in Dallas. We have San Antonio, all around. Hey, so tell us.
National.
And national mentors as well.
And they're bigger now. Believe it or not, the member share of the national members is greater than our largest city group, which is Houston. That's what Joe Flores was telling me. Our other national single family mentors. So it's getting big.
So what is the biggest mistake or mistakes that people make when they start out with their real estate investing? You don't have to say the biggest. What are the ones that you run into regularly? I guess would be a better way to ask that question.
I would say that you need to, I would say treat this as a business and take it quite serious. Now, while we give you all the tools to be successful, you need to have the right mindset, too. Don't just think, it's all going to fall in my lap and I don't need to do much. You have to be proactive. It's not a lot of work. It's the easiest money I've ever made in my life, and I think anyone who's been successful and followed what we tell you to do, remember that's what we write at the back of the book. I will not do what Dell or David says. It's when you get off track that you get in trouble. But don't be too passive and feel like, I can let my guard down. No, treat it as a business, especially maybe, let's say working with contractors, let's make sure that you get under contracts, not just the scope of work or their invoice or bid that they give you. You need a professional contract that we provide. We have all the tools and resources for you. You need to just follow through and treat it as a business and be professional about it. And I think that would prevent any sort of headaches. If you do that.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate that. Everybody that's listening, two things that you said that I think are key. One is you got to follow the map. If you can follow instructions, you can do real estate investing. If you will be successful working with Lifestyles Unlimited, investing in real estate, if you just follow the instructions. It's funny, Joey, every person I've had on here that when I ask that question, the mentors actually all say, the only time I had a problem was when I didn't do what Dell taught me to do, or didn't do what David Fisher's one of the other educators. I didn't do what David Fisher told me to do. That's when I had a problem. As long as I did what they told me to do, anybody can do it, which is really a good thing. The other thing you said is, and I want really people to really catch this, it is you said it's the easiest money I've ever made in my life. I've never heard anybody say that before, but when you said that, I thought, wow, that is really the truth. My real estate investing is the easiest money I've ever made in my life. I mean, sometimes I think, oh man, it's so much work, it's so much to do. It is not. It is nothing at all.
No. And I manage my own properties too.
Me too.
A lot of people, and people think, oh, well, what about the leaky toilet calls? And it's like, well, what about them? I have a plumber on speed dial. Maybe it takes me a total of 30 minutes of my time max, making a few phone calls and following up with the resident, make sure it's taken care of, and paying the plumber with Venmo or whatever electronic form I pay him. It's easy. Right. It's really not bad.
And the money from that house is paying all your utilities at your own home. That's really easy work.
Yeah.
We are right up at the end of the show. Joey, thanks so much for being here. You've been listening to Joey Sullivan, single-family mentor with Lifestyles Unlimited. He is the expert. He's one of those guys that people go to when they are doing their real estate investing. I want to encourage you to go to lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com and sign up for that free workshop. It's free, and it is online, and we will show you the 5 ways that we make money with real estate. Remember, it is the easiest money I've ever made in my life. That is a quote from Joey Sullivan. Glad you're with us. Glad to be working with you on your financial freedom. Have a great day.
The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.